Hello, we're back on Anderson Speaks here on Anderson Community Television, and I'm excited to introduce our next set of guests. They are representatives of the Beechmont Players. With me is Becky Krauser, Vice President of Shows for the Beechmont Players, and Steve Phelan, who's the Vice President of Sales for the Beechmont Players. And both of you are also players yourself, correct?
That's right. Correct.
In fact, Becky, I had the privilege of seeing you in the performance of Once Upon a Mattress, where you played actually several things. You were just kind of multi-talented, and I think we were discussing some of the names for the characters you played. But
that's right. I played Princess Number 12, the unfortunate princess who wasn't quite smart enough to marry the prince, and then I switched hats literally to play the French lady in waiting who only knew one word of English, which was yes.
You were very flirtatious, very good, very convincing, and you both were recently in the production of On the Razzle.
That's right. Farce that we did just a couple months ago, and it was a big success for us.
Did you enjoy the production?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Of course, I mean, if you didn't, you wouldn't be allowed to say so. You have to act like you liked it, but it was fun.
I legitimately enjoyed it. It presented its own set of challenges with having dialect that we had to learn from different parts of the world, primarily Western Europe, entirely Western Europe actually. But
what was the premise of the production?
Tom Stoppard's play is actually based on the same story upon which The Matchmaker and Hello Dolly are based.
Okay.
It's basically Hello Dolly without Dolly and without all the music. It's about two shopkeepers who go on the razzle, so to speak. They run off to Vienna to have one last fling before they become serious adults, and hilarity ensues.
What's the main focus of our visit today? What is it that you're wanting the folks at home to take away from our discussion?
We wanted to tell them about how we had won a whole bunch of awards from the local regional acting association and from the state association, and just to point out what a good theater company Anderson has here in it.
Well, I could have said that.
You could have. Why didn't you?
No. Was it a record number of awards? But I mean, you guys have won several, a dozen or more. I'm trying to remember.
Mm-hmm. We actually this year we were nominated for 72 awards, of which we won 34.
That's like almost 3 dozen, if I did my...
Right, almost 3 dozen, correct.
Very nearly.
It was a very good year for us this year, and we're incredibly proud of our last season, and we're very proud of our upcoming season. We think only better things will come out of this season as well.
I want you guys to explain who it is who was doing the nominations, kind of the bodies behind the awards, but before that, give us the base of what is Beechmont Players.
Beechmont Players is a volunteer theatrical organization. We are the resident acting company here at the Anderson Center, and we put on 4 shows a year, 3 in our regular season, and a special show in the summer every year.
Now, you guys, we have a mutual friend in Judy Archer, and she was on the show with her Matthew 25 Ministries, but had the joy just to talk to her about the show. And one thing I told her was, a lot of times people hear the word community theater, and the connotative definition or the feel they get is kind of a negative thing. But I love the fact that I can call you guys community theater, because I can tell from my own experience the quality of the production is fantastic. So when people hear volunteers or amateur, it's not quality at all. It's just that you guys are doing this for free. You're not getting paid. That's the only difference.
That's absolutely right. And we were talking before the taping started about some of the really spot-on people that you've seen on stage.
Yeah.
Many of those people actually have degrees in theater, degrees in performance. Many of the people who work on our technical aspects have degrees in those various areas, and they choose to volunteer their time in this way because it's something that they love to do. In the same way that we like to volunteer our time to act on stage, as well as to help run things behind the scenes. Just because it's such an amazing experience to be part of a community effort like a community theater production.
And it's not only a family, but it's a very professional family. This is the 52nd season for the Beechmont Players. That's a long time for any nonprofit organization to
Wow,
hold together.
just a community. I mean, in essence, it's a community-based organization that requires a ton of dedication, time, preparation, and I know that you guys have to go out and you find sponsors and supporters. That is a lot of work for something to where people aren't being monetarily compensated, but that just shows the passion that people have. We were discussing before the show how I play semi-pro football. I mean, I play semi-pro because I just want to play football, and if somebody would pay me, that'd be great. But I can't even walk right now, so it's neither here nor there. But when you're passionate about something and you want to do it, you'll commit and you'll do it regardless of how you're compensated, because there's different ways to be compensated. We know this.
Absolutely, and when you talk about the quality of the performances and things, I think one of the things that sets us apart and that has allowed us to go on as long as we have is that when you have people volunteering their time for something like this and being as passionate about it as they are, they really care about what the end product looks like. There's a lot of dedication in terms of not just memorizing lines, but painting sets and hanging lights and getting everything done that needs to be done to make it a really good experience for the audience.
When people talk about team effort, it's really a team effort. In a professional Broadway production, you're not going to have the lead actors and actresses painting the backdrop. But in community theater, you're going to have people doing something everywhere because, one, that's what it takes, and two, they want to see it get done as much as everyone else.
That's absolutely true. It benefits everybody.
Awesome. So the organizations, these bodies that nominate, that give out these awards, tell us who they are, tell us about them, and what's their criteria? Who are they looking at? What's your competition? Things like that.
Well, the Association of Community Theaters of Greater Cincinnati is called ACT for short, and it is the...
That's cute.
I know, right? It's actually a division of the Ohio Community Theater Association, OCTA, less cute, which is the statewide organization of community theaters. So ACT is the organization for all of the community theaters in the greater Cincinnati area. So ACT has representatives from each of the member theaters, of which Beechmont Players is a member, and they have many volunteers involved just with that governing organization. One of the things that they do is they have judges adjudicators who go around to each production. We try to do 3 per production, and watch the show. They, park like everybody else. They come in and get tickets like everybody else. They walk around in the lobby at intermission like everybody else. And the idea is to see what the performance and the production as a whole is like for the general audience member. And based on what they see, they then fill out a form, and they can give suggestions to the theater group about how to improve their productions in the future, but they can also nominate for awards. I'm actually currently serving as an ACT judge for the Association of Community Theaters, and I did last season as well.
It's like being a secret shopper.
It really kind of is. I've done that as well. It's very similar.
And of course, you have to be unbiased when you're going judging other groups.
Absolutely.
You have to see it from your judging role and not as a Beechmont player.
Well, we all want all of the community theater groups in town to succeed because it's very important that we all support each other. I think there's a general public perception, like you said, about community theater and the quality of community theater, and it's up to all of us to work together to make sure that that perception is broken and replaced by the reality of a bunch of really great people putting on a really great show.
There's about 20 some odd amateur companies in the Cincinnati area, the greater Cincinnati area, and we all draw from a fairly close radius around ourselves. And so we're not really stealing audience from each other, and anybody who comes to one performance is very likely to come to somebody else's performance.
Fantastic. And forgive me for making another comparison with my experience with semi-pro football, but the biggest thing we've always strive for is making this amateur, this volunteer experience as close to an actual professional experience as possible, not just for the folks who are coming out to enjoy the games, but for the players, the football players themselves, for guys who've been involved in really nice high school programs or even college programs. We've had guys who played D1. We've had guys who have played for the Cincinnati Bengals who play this amateur level now, and making it as close to professional for them just enhances the entire experience, and I can see how on the theater side of it, the same thing, where more people coming out, making a larger I don't want to use the word production, but making the entire experience, not just the show itself, but the event, something that draws more of the community, and that's looked forward to by more people, and it involves more things. I'm sure that's something that you guys enjoy striving for as well.
And the awards kind of show that. We had 18 performance awards, 5 for production and direction, 11 technical, and even a couple for doing the excerpt that we did at the OCTA convention, where, or the regional convention, where people do little half-hour excerpts of their shows to show off for their own peers.
In fact, the production that you saw, Once Upon a Mattress, actually won an award for excellence in overall performance quality, which is, I think, one of the best awards that we can win as a group, because it shows that the judges who came said, you know, this was just a great experience overall, just coming to this production and seeing this show. The same went for our production of The Rainmaker, which was the show that we did right before that, a drama, for which we also won excellence in overall production.
I want to nominate you guys for excellent intermission snacks.
Thank you.
Because they were really good. To me, that's part of the
overall. It's a woman
overall.
named Donna Serber who provides a wonderful experience
Donna
for our
does
audiences.
well, and I mean that adds to the overall experience.
It
Even though it's not
absolutely
part of the
does.
show, it really does.
It really does, and in fact, she goes above and beyond. And when you go to a lot of the different performances for the different groups all over the city, you start to see these tiny things that she does, especially to make it a special experience for the audience. For instance, she always likes to have the ushers dressed in some sort of attire that goes with the theme of the show. For our show that opens this Friday, Forever Plaid, she actually has little plaid bow ties for every usher to wear, just to get everybody sort of in the spirit of the show.
It really is that attention to detail, those little touches that people will notice and pick up on and start to think, well, this isn't just a bunch of people who think they can act because they did it once in high school and slapping a show together. These are professionals who just, because they're not getting paid, the show's more affordable for me.
That's absolutely true.
Now, I have a question about the OCTA convention, because I remember a neat experience in high school where we did several one-act plays, and then took one of them to a one-act convention or festival in Dayton with all these high schools, and it was really neat to act that out for other thespians, for other theater people, especially when you're doing a one-act that's about why people are in theater. That was a neat experience. How different is it for you guys when you go to the conventions now than just a show for the general audience?
It's a neat experience because it is for our peers. We have a convention over Memorial Day weekend, which is the ACT convention, so that's just for the greater Cincinnati area. And all of the groups in greater Cincinnati have an opportunity then to bring an excerpt from one of the shows from their past season. It's a really neat way to see some shows that you might not have gotten a chance to see during the season. And it's kind of like Old Home Week. You know, even though we tend to be a pretty close-knit group of community theater people, there are some people that, because they're clear on the other side of town, maybe you don't get to see them very often. So it's neat to see what everyone has been up to. From that group of excerpts then are chosen 3 to go to the OCTA convention, which takes place over Labor Day weekend, which this year is up in northern Ohio, up near Cleveland. And at that convention, we have the opportunity to see excerpts from the different groups from all over the state of Ohio.
That's awesome.
It is very cool.
It also makes you very nervous because that's an awfully critical audience. They know exactly what perfection is, and they're waiting for you to hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, but performing for performers can be nerve-wracking, whether it's theater, music, or anything, because like you said, you know I could sit down and fool people into thinking I can play guitar and piano, but put me in front of a guitar player or piano player, and I'm not going to want to play. So.
True, but in this situation, we're putting you in front of a bunch of guitar and piano players who really want you to succeed as well, which is
fantastic.
An excellent experience for everyone who's involved.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So you did On the Razzle. The next show is?
It's called Forever Plaid.
And what is upcoming on the schedule after that?
We're going to have All My Sons, which is a drama by Arthur Miller, obviously playwright who did Death of a Salesman and The Crucible, among other things, and was married to Marilyn Monroe at one time. She is not in the play, but it is still very good. It's a story about World War II and family conflict within a great moral dilemma.
It's an incredible, and Steve knows this is actually one of my favorite plays of all time. It's an incredible play because even though it does take place in World War II era, it is actually incredibly appropriate for today. It deals with issues of family dynamics, a family that has two sons who go off to war, one of whom does not come back. It deals with issues of war profiteering. It deals with all kinds of things that are still very real today, and the dynamics that occur between the characters and the way that Arthur Miller writes the characters is just amazing. And I want to encourage anybody who's interested in getting involved with community theater to come on out on August 28th and 29th, because that's when we have auditions for this great show. And it's an excellent way to get involved.
I have not seen All My Sons, but I've seen The Crucible, and I've seen, I'm actually going blank.
Death of a Salesman.
Death of a Salesman. Actually seen several versions of that. Both, I mean, anybody who's seen them know how fantastic they are. The Crucible, I guess I just saw about 4 years ago. It blew my mind, but I'm very intrigued now.
I've done all of those, and I absolutely think that All My Sons is his best work.
Really?
We're going to follow that up with Blood Brothers, which is an English musical. It's by the same man who wrote Shirley Valentine and Educating Rita, which were both turned into movies. And it's pretty cutting edge. It's still playing in London's West End after 23 years. So obviously it has some staying power. And then we're going to follow that up with a farce, probably the funniest farce ever written, called Noises Off. It's about a theatrical group putting on a show, and you see it from behind the stage, then you see it from in front of the stage, then you see it from behind the stage some months later, and you'll be rolling around on the floor laughing.
Who wrote that?
Michael Frayn, F-R-A-Y-N.
No, I'm familiar with it. So
yeah, it's just a great show. And then we'll finish up a year from now with Annie.
Really?
So we'll be looking for every young person and teen in the area to come audition.
My daughter loves that show, but she'll only be 4. So.
Well, you know, if her stage age is 6 or 7, then she'll be good to go.
We'll see if she can pass. I don't. Yeah, when she acts like she's 4 now, I start to get a little scared. I can't imagine if she's 9 going on 18. And
We'll have plenty of child wranglers on hand. So.
Oh. Do I have to be in the show to take advantage of that? Can we just come, watch rehearsals? That'd be fantastic. Real quick. Where can people go to find out more information about being either part of the productions, when the productions are, and also more about what you guys are here to highlight, just the numerous awards that you've won this year? We
actually have an award-winning website. We won an Octo Award last year for our website, and it is www.beechmontplayers.org. And it has all the information with regard to upcoming auditions, as well as how to get involved behind the scenes. Anyone who's interested in helping, lift a paintbrush, build a set, hang some lights, even anyone who's interested in designing, choreographing, things like that. There are really so many opportunities for people to fulfill that theater bug that they feel after they see a show.
Yes, I remember discussing with Judy, there's a lot of stuff that goes on. And unfortunately, we're out of time. We can get more into that. Guys, please come back. Just even before the next show, come on back and we'll talk some more about the players and what you guys do, and let people hear more about it. So thanks for being on the show, and thank you at home for joining us. We'll see you next time.